Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? Jonathan Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Game Day live show. We're back. A couple days off here with the way the NBA schedule has gone about. In-season tournament over. 11-game main slate kicking us off here on a Thursday, and it is as messy as we thought it was going to be. We did a preview show this morning. We kind of broke it all down. We kept on going over like, wow, like it kind of a tough slate. A lot of 11 games, a lot of players, a lot of news we were waiting on. We got the Luka Doncic news. Luka Doncic is out. And then we got RJ Barrett being ruled out here today as well. We don't know if Scotty Barnes is going to play. We had Jakob Poeltl ruled out last night as well. So Toronto situation going to be pretty interesting to see the direction that goes in. Again, the ownership for today, unless you're playing on FanDuel, is also kind of interesting to see where people
Why
are
FanDuel?
playing. Oh, if you don't know,
what happened on FanDuel today, John?
Right. If you're a FanDuel player, which I know a lot of our watchers are FanDuel players. Scotty Barnes, min price over there, $3,500.
Huh? Is that fair? Is that a fair price for Scotty Barnes?
It's about $6,000 shy of what he normally probably should be priced at. So if Scotty Barnes plays, our current projected ownership for Scotty Barnes is 99%. I think it was.
Yeah.
So
what is that one? What is the 1% just doesn't know he's that price, right?
Or probably doesn't know he's there. Or just like hoping he gets like limited, or I don't know, like has a bad day.
It doesn't
even matter.
No.
So anyways, over on FanDuel, Scotty Barnes is $3,500. Just plug him in now and take advantage of that mistake. But DraftKings, again, it's going to be super interesting to see where we go. The ownership for today, at least for now, as it is over at Fantasy Alarm, kind of interesting. Kyrie Irving, not surprising, I don't think, that he is among the highest rostered with Luka Doncic out. But some of the high up guys that we liked also kind of right up there. Kate Cunningham among the highest priced roster players. Clint Capella, Noah Nekiaganku right up there in terms of rostership here tonight. So as usual, we will go position by position. We'll break it all down. We'll answer your questions. If we get any more news, we will answer that news as well and break that on the show. We'll give you any updates as necessary. But again, as I said on the show this morning, I feel like 11 games is one of the bigger slates we've had in a long time. You called out, was it before voting day they had all 15
election
teams?
Day, the election day one was I think 15 games. And I'm pretty sure the DraftKings slate was like 11 or 12, and FanDuel had
everybody.
The whole shebang. Yeah.
FanDuel's got 13 over there today. So if you are playing over there, you just have a ridiculous amount of players to kind of sift through here. So let's get into it. Our guy Justin Carlucci did the playbook. That's live over on Fantasy Alarm. Grande did your pick 'em articles. You can go check those out today if you're looking for some prize picks, underdog, or sleeper picks. But point guard position brings us to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 10-3, LaMelo Ball at $9,900, Cade Cunningham 98, Harden 97, Booker 95. I'll cut it off there because we have like 8 more guards we can talk about at the 9K range as well. We had Cade on the cover of the preview show. He was our plug in the lineups. He's also getting a lot of ownership love here tonight. Has anything moved for you when it comes to Cade Cunningham on the slate?
No. No. In that facet, no. We've got the only thing it's definitively it's been more solidified because when we did the pre-show, Jaden Ivey was not listed anything, and now he's listed doubtful, right? So no, it hasn't done anything. It's an elite spot, no matter how you shake it. I mean, it's just an elite play.
Yep. So he is among the higher rostered players overall on the slate. Again, if you're looking to spend up, he's right up there. Right next to him is Trae Young as well. Trae Young, $9,400 going up against the San Antonio Spurs. Again, over the in-season tournament games, Trae really turned it on. Shot volume was great. Free throws were pretty elite there in against Milwaukee. The double-doubles, the scoring. If Trae is going to be giving us these kind of numbers, $9,400 is certainly fair and certainly shows that he can have a ceiling as well.
Yeah. He is. I mean, this game is much more popular than I expected it to be, but I guess people are catching on. Atlanta has a smaller rotation. They don't play a lot of guys, like 8 really strong minute players, and one of them's not there. So we'll see who enters the rotation. But 234 implied points in this game. Really good game environment. So yeah, I have no issues getting to Trey either.
We don't know the Ja Morant news yet, right? Ja Morant's still considered questionable for today. Ja is also getting some ownership love. If Ja plays tonight, where does he rank among the top guards for you?
I would have him, and we didn't really talk about like a lot of them. He'd be up there with probably Cade per dollar. It's a great spot, and not like that Golden State's bad defensively, but it's a really fast-paced game. There's a lot of implied points, 236 and a half. It's a 2-point spread. And when you look at, because I wrote up Josh points today.
Yeah.
When you look at Morant in all the games he's basically played 30 minutes, and his usage rate has been higher than the minutes. I mean, he has had 30% usage or better in 4 of his last 5 games. And basically that's been a trend all year. He has just, and he's been elite peripherally as well, which, we haven't always gotten. So he would rank per dollar as good as any other point guard on the slate.
Right. Where else are we looking to go in this top tier? Again, there's so many guards, 9K and above. Was there anybody not mentioned that you would be looking to plug and play here?
Yeah, I think Curry is really interesting in tournaments. Obviously we don't know what the Dennis Schroeder implementation is going to look like. Does he start? Does he not? But I have obviously the minutes for Steph Curry lately have been amazing. Hasn't played less than 32 in 6 straight games. And that was something that Steve Kerr had talked about earlier in the year. He wants him to average 32 for the year. Well, when you're playing constantly in playoff atmospheres, I mean, 7 straight games against teams in the playoffs right now in the Western Conference. So I like Stephen Curry in tournaments of the rest of the tier. No thanks on Shea back-to-back after heavy minutes in the in-season tournament in a slow-paced matchup. If LaMelo has no limit, then I definitely have interest there. Harden in tournaments, Booker in tournaments, but the only other name really there for me is Curry. I guess the question is like, what if Scotty is playing and not limited? Then I think all bets are off because we're getting a point guard small forward with nobody else on his team available.
Yeah, I mean, getting update theme. Lillard all of a sudden ruled out for tomorrow's slate, so we're already getting that news. No, I agree. I mean, if Scotty's by himself, I mean, there's pretty legit upside. The thing is, like, even based off sort of the analysis here, like he's kind of ahead of what they suggested he would be. So, like, is he going to be limited at all?
If he plays, there's no way they're limiting. I would say if he's if they play him, why
play him if he's not ready to go?
Yeah, why even rush him back?
Agreed. Michael Montgomery, FanDuel play wants to know: would you go Fox or Ja?
Ja if he's in.
Okay. Working our way down into the next range. DeJounte, Halliburton cover of today's live show. Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving, $8,200. Irving, second highest roster player on the slate. But we've kind of gone down this road this year. When Luka Doncic has been out, we haven't really gotten the Kyrie Irving game. It's kind of been everybody else around Kyrie Irving. Plus Clippers, tough defensively. Are you in on Irving at 82?
I think it's situationally different. I don't disagree about the matchup. He was also like $9,000+ in most of those spots. He's $8,200. Like he was almost $10,000 for most of that stretch.
Yep.
And now he's $8,200. So I would say it's it's not apples to apples. I'm perfectly fine going to Kyrie at 8,200. If he is like the highest rostered player of the slate, I'm also okay not going to Kyrie Irving because he is in a tough spot. But obviously, first and foremost, he needs to get ruled in before we go here. So
if not, boy, the value that will be on this slate.
Oh, I mean, it'll be endless because imagine Scotty Barnes and Kyrie both get rolled out, right? And then you just have 2 teams with like literally nobody playing, like not nobody, but no top players playing in either of those situations. So,
but just we talked about Dinwiddie's 37.
Yeah, Dinwiddie's 37. Grimes is cheap. Clay's both teams would just be incredibly cheap. But that tier, I do think like Halliburton is a very interesting pivot off of Kyrie Irving, and nobody's playing him. And I get it. It's been an inconsistent season for Tyrese Halliburton. You and I have been the first ones to be like, hey, this guy was a 10K player, hasn't been that guy this year. Still, like the usage rate lower than I think we'd want it, 22%
Sure.
on the year. 1.14 fantasy points per minute is solid. Last two games, maybe a trend in the right direction here, John. 26 and 33% usage rates for Tyrese Halliburton. The points have obviously been elite in those two games, plus they've been double doubles. This game is obviously better than the spot that Kyrie Irving's in. Like when you look at the two games, right? Tyrese Halliburton, 8,400 in the Suns game, 235.5 implied points. Suns ranked 21st in defensive rating. Last 10 games, they ranked 24th.
Yeah.
Then you're taking the Clippers matchup against Dallas, 223 implied points. It's 12 fewer than Indiana Phoenix. And you just look at everything to do with the Clippers. Like they are a top 10 defense. They are bottom 10 terms of pace. Like it's just not like, so it's not an appealing spot. So just like looking at the situations, if you're looking for leverage off Kyrie, it's going to Halliburton at slightly more, right? Sure. For like significantly less ownership.
Yep, agreed. Working our way down the list here. We hit the Chicago-Boston game. You and I talked about that one, the 244.5 total, 14.5 point spread in this one. With the Giddey news, obviously we haven't gotten the official confirmation that he is ruled out yet. Levine also warming up, or was that shoot around with the intention to go, but has to feel how his back will handle the pregame workout. Where do you go with these Boston Chicago guards?
I guess TBD.
Okay.
It's a lot of TBD because it was the same thing with Chicago the other day, right? Levine was ruled out, and then everyone flocked to Giddey, Kobe White,
right?
And Giddey was great till he wasn't because he got hurt. Kobe White wasn't great until he was when Giddey got hurt. So TBD. I don't expect Giddey to play. That was like basically the comments from Billy Donovan yesterday that he'd be surprised if Giddey played. So I guess like leaving the door open for him. I guess my one question to you, more than anything about that game, is what do you make of the Jordan Poole ownership being where it is? Because Jordan Poole is one of the most and that has not moved the entire day. And I know Kuzma was officially ruled out. He was the only one ruled out. The rest of the team is healthy. Just Kuzma and Sadiq Bey. They're the only two on the injury report for Washington. Shout out to Sadiq Bey. Hopefully,
forgot Sadiq Bey was on that team.
Hopefully, he makes it.
Rebounds who are getting out of Sadiq Bey last year.
Yep. Atlanta definitely made the right choice. Moving on. But what do we make of the Jordan Poole ownership being where it's been all day?
I mean, the minutes probably, right? Like I get that they're healthy, but does he lose playing time?
He hasn't played a lot when they've I should say he hasn't played 36, 36, 40 when they've been healthy. His season high previously was 34.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't have an answer for you. I didn't find myself getting to Jordan Poole today. Did you? I don't think we really got to Jordan Poole in any of our thoughts regarding the slate.
I mean, I don't mind it with the Kuzma specific news. Like if Kuzma was returned, I think I would have been a little more hesitant, but 7,300, really good spot. Charlotte bottom 10 in defense.
I mean, it's fine, I guess, if you're just looking for like that when we're building our lineups. You're like, all right, what do we have left? Oh, we got $7,300. Like then maybe I'd play. I don't think I'm building a lineup with the intention of playing Jordan Poole.
Well, I'm only asking. He's the third highest roster.
I know. Well, that's why I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like I've gone into my lineup builds today being like, all right, gotta fit Jordan Poole in my lab. Now, I haven't built since the RJ Barrett news came out. I gotta fix my lineups. I've had Barrett in there, so gonna have to maybe fit it in. But yeah, Carlucci's got Poole in the playbook. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, again, the ownership definitely plays there. Bauer's never been a Poole guy. He's had moments. He's had some bad games. I just didn't go into this slate today building my lineups with Jordan Poole in it. So Again, I did plug in some Peyton Pritchard. I like Keontae George, as we talked about. Both of those guys are there. Then we have Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons earlier in the day was getting a lot of ownership love. Still right up there, right above Jordan Poole, actually. $5,400. We had the comment on our preview show right before we went live. Ben Simmons not making that layup cost the guy first place in the showdown. If you saw that note we had come and leave us.
Did see that. Yep.
He played 31 minutes against Cleveland, and now he's going to go up against a Toronto team that might literally have nobody. Might just be Grady Dick and Kelly O out there today. So where does Ben Simmons rank for you?
He's up there,
right?
Let me just say this. I am not confident in 30 and a half minutes again. I'm not on a night to night basis. I'm not confident because also on a nightly basis, Ben Simmons might get hurt. I don't want to like put that out in the world and I don't want him to get hurt. I'm just saying that's kind of who he's been.
Mm-hmm.
He did, John, have 17 potential assists in that game. 17 potential assists in that game. One, that goes to show you he had 8. There was a lot of missed shots on his passes. That is what Cleveland's defense can do to you. Toronto's defense is not Cleveland's defense.
No.
So, like, if Ben Simmons gets upper 20s minutes, even if he does touch 30 again, and I'm wrong with that, I mean, he's an elite play at 5,400. Just because we were told, Jody Fernandez, the coach of the Nets, told us, right? He came out and said,
did not lie.
Dennis Schroeder plays slow. No knock on Dennis Schroeder, but we played slow with Dennis Schroeder. We are going to play fast with Ben Simmons. They did.
Yep.
And he had an uptick in usage. He had an uptick in minutes. He had 8 assists. He even scored, and he turned the ball over a lot.
Yep.
And, Ben Simmons is also a better rebounder than what he showed. So, yeah, I mean, it's never a fun feeling in the year 2024 seeing Ben Simmons be very popular. But it is when you look at the slate and you look at Brooklyn as a whole and how they're going to generate points, they're going to generate points through Ben Simmons. So 5,400, I think, is too cheap. I do wish, and I believe on FanDuel, he's like point guard power forward or something.
Sure.
I do wish there was a little better eligibility, but I can't knock the price for Ben Simmons here.
Agreed. Cam Man saying Jordan Poole feels like a good guy at low ownership, but DeFade at high ownership. That's kind of where I'm at, I think, too. It's especially if he was in the 5K range or something like that, like maybe more palatable, but I feel at 73, we want that money. All right, value point guards. We have definitely some options we can look at here today. And maybe some more coming up. I mean, where do you sit with this tier and where we might be looking to play today?
I mean, I don't know if we need to sit in this tier. I guess like the primary question after Simmons is like, what is worth playing? I think Lonzo becomes more of a play depending on who's in and out in Chicago. Obviously, I think depending on who's in and out in Memphis, that obviously becomes the talking point in the slate. Scottie Pippen will just be the most popular play on the slate, and probably per dollar the best play on the slate. If Ja and Smart's basically ruled out, but if Ja sits, then you just plug Scottie Pippen and you don't think twice. But then like your whole lineup changes because you're playing you're playing a lot of Memphis.
Yeah.
I guess the one conversation that I guess we should have is the Davion stuff. I know he's questionable, and I know it's Davion Mitchell, but they literally have basically shifted through all these like star forwards that they have as their point guards, right?
Yeah.
Like Scotty's been listed as their point guard. Scotty goes out. RJ's been listed as their point guard. Davion's getting a lot of ownership, and that feels really gross. But what is Toronto going to look like? Like, let's just play hypothetical. Scotty doesn't play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's their starting lineup? What's their starting lineup if Scotty doesn't play?
Jamal Shed.
Is he starting over Davion Mitchell?
If Davion's out?
I'm saying this scenario, Davion's playing.
Okay.
And Scotty's not playing.
Boucher probably would start, right? Like
Grady Dick,
Agbaji, Mogbo,
and Agbaji and Mobo. Those are your three, right? Those are three. Yeah. Who are the other two?
Kobe Walter.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Fernando and Walter probably the two, and then if there's no Mitchell, I mean, we'll get to Walter at 44.
Fernando only got 2 minutes in that Miami game. They played Olynyk and they played Boucher.
I know, but he's the one who started. He was the one who started that or the Pirtle, whatever. He
started for the Pirtle spasm, yeah, but then never played again.
Right. I'm not playing Bruno Fernando. I just think that's one of those like I always use the Zaza Pachulia thing when he used to start for the Warriors and he would just come off the floor, like JaVale McGee. He would just start for the Warriors and come off the floor. Would you play 4K Davion if he's in and Scotty Barnes is out?
No.
Okay.
I'd rather play Dinwiddie.
Even if Kyrie plays?
Yeah. Why? Why not? We saw it. We saw what he was doing with Kyrie and Irving and no Luka earlier.
Yeah, I'm just asking. I mean, I think one spot is different than the other. Brooklyn bottom 5 defense, Clippers are not.
But one's an offensive player, one's not an offensive player.
He might have to be. If no Pirtle, no Barnes, no Barrett.
If there's no Barrett, I mean, again, Kelly O will shoot, Boucher will shoot, Grady Dick will take 30 shots tonight. I don't think Davion's like out there taking 25 shots.
I think two of those players are not playing more than 20 minutes. So,
well, we've thought that before. Oscar Thompson didn't play more than 13 minutes, and all of a sudden he played 28 when he had to.
Sure.
So we'll see. Shooting guard. Again, a lot of these guys we mentioned or went by. We got Booker, Edwards, Brandon Miller, unlikely to play tonight. Jaylen Brown, $8,500. Thoughts on the top end of shooting guard here?
It's fine. Booker tournaments, Edwards tournaments. Miller went through shoot around. Looks like he's going to play, but he's still priced as if LaMelo's not playing. So I'm not going to go there. You can always get to Jalen. Hope he has a pop game. I'd be more confident in Jalen if there's no Porzingis. But 85 is, I think, a little out of my price range, but it's a great spot. Obviously, that game has blow up potential, so you can play it in tournaments. We talked to Kyrie. No thanks on Beal as he tries to increase his trade stock. Levine, there's obviously a very high ceiling with Levine if there's no Josh Giddey. So I'm okay with it. I like Poole more than you. McCollum, tough spot, but obviously shorthanded team. Not like a really inspirational above 7K shooting guard.
No, I agree. And I don't think we need to go there. I mean, we like Desmond Bane, especially if there was no John Morant. We like Norm Powell at $6,900. Wish he was a little bit cheaper, but he's been fine at that price point. You hit the Chicago guys and the Boston guys, which we've kind of already mentioned. I mean, Grady Dick at 6K with no Barrett. This is just continues to play. Even if Scotty Barnes plays, the rule with Grady Dick is if it's just him and one other guy, we play Grady Dick, right?
Yeah, and now there's no Pirtle too, so like just adds more. I mean, he's been a pretty good rebounder as well. So it just kind of is what it is. He's not. I think he does like benefit from guys like generating shots for him. He's not really like an elite shot creator himself, but they are going to look towards Grady Dick as much as possisable, just out of necessity.
The man's taken 20 plus shots multiple times this year, so he is not afraid to fire away. Again, we have the Pritchard, Peyton Pritchard is there. Win, blowout, close games, whatever. It just seems like he's on the floor for 30 plus, and the guy's been absolutely lights out. Jordan Clarkson, $5,500. This is kind of such a weird thing. Jordan Clarkson's obviously been very good, averaging almost 16 points a game. His scoring prop tonight is only 14.5, which feels a little low. Jaden Ivey officially out, Toby officially in, as we kind of assumed. What are your thoughts on Jordan Clarkson here against Detroit?
So I think The interesting part about Utah in general is one, they're wild cards with how they're playing these guys, right? We talked about it with John Collins. They lost by 30 the other day and he played 38 minutes. I don't understand that. But all these guys at like the end of their bench are in the G League. Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Toshibwe, Filipowski, they're all in the G League. So usually when Utah is like usually having a lot of guys play, they can still technically play 10. I just think they're going to go shorter rotations today. You're going to see Clarkson probably operate a lot of the backup guards, like point guard and shooting guard. I think that puts him in play. I do. Relatively good spot. Detroit has definitely been better defensively this year, but he's cheap. He's going to get all the backup run at both guard positions. Just given, would you rather do that or give dust Patty Mills off today? Because like Patty Mills, depends. Tobias Harris was listed probable all day, so that was expected. The Jaden Ivey stuff, we expected him to be out too.
Yeah.
But I do think the Clarkson minutes are a little bit secure here, just given that Utah has half their team listed in the G League with that whole G League Invitational thing going on today. So like where you're even like, who knows what they're going to do for blowout stuff, right? Like if they get blown out and all these teams get blown out, like they don't have their typical G League players to go to. So like, could Jordan Clarkson just sneak into some blowout run as well?
Possible. We know he's a pretty elite offensive upside play here too. I'm trying to see if we have any more news on like the Pistons rotation here, but I don't see anything yet regarding if we'd get Oscar Thompson or Beasley in the starting lineup today. So we'll have to wait and see. The Spurs plays are down here. Again, Vassell had a terrible game. Champagny was pretty good. Castle, we know, had his minutes kind of limited. Beasley is in this range. Klay Thompson at $4,900 is in this range here. What are your thoughts as we hit down below the shooting guard?
Yeah, I mean, I think Klay is interesting in tournaments for sure. No idea what I mean, there's multiple routes that Detroit can go. They can go with the Beasley, Beasley Hardaway 2-3 that they did the other day, or they can go back to Sar Thompson and have Hardaway play the 2 and Asar Thompson play the 3 with Toby at the 4. Like they could do either of those things. And I think you're comfortable. I would say we're more comfortable with Beasley in either role.
Agreed.
And we're more comfortable with Asar if he's starting. Right? Is that a good way to phrase it? Like for Asar to be playable, he has to start. If Beasley doesn't have to start, we know he's going to play upper 20s and take a bunch of shots off the bench.
Agreed. I'm trying to see if there's anybody tweeting about Oscar Thompson right now.
I would say the good thing is we will know because it's a 7 p.m. game.
That's fair.
So we'll know ahead of time whether or not like what they're starting. Also, I think Detroit is a relatively early. Like Orlando is the best ever at releasing their starting lineups. They do it like we already have the Magic of starting lineup for like the last hour. Right. I think the Pistons are also an early lineup giver.
Well, we'll get it anyways, like you said. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening here. I mentioned in one of the deeper discussions we had in the previous shows what Atlanta does. If they go with some sort of shortened rotation that doesn't involve Larry Nance, then we have to expect someone like Bogey to play more minutes tonight, right? Like they go with Jalen Johnson with some 5 run. They get DeAndre Hunter at the 4, and Bogey gets on the floor a little bit more tonight. This is a guy that I've played kind of anyways, but obviously the last couple of games for him haven't been as great, and there are certainly better options probably around him on the board today. But where are you with Bogdanovic, and is there anybody cheaper that we haven't yet discussed that you'd be looking at tonight?
I mean, obviously the Walter if he's starting, but I don't think there's anything else. You could obviously see Isaiah Joe start again, but it's a back-to-back. OKC is one of the only teams with a back-to-back. We already know Dagnall's going to play coming off the cup. Dagnall's going to play 27 players tonight. Whoever's available is going to play minutes tonight for the Thunder. So I don't think so. I guess maybe THJ-ish, maybe. Played 36 minutes the other day. No Ivy. I mean,
are you giving NAW any love still?
he plays minutes. He has a pretty good ceiling at this price but a really low floor. So when he makes shots, he's excellent because he's very good peripherally. But he has to make shots, and it's also not on like a heavy dosage of volume.
Sure. Small forward then. Jason Tatum was someone that you had ranked one of your better top overall plays of the day in terms of spend up options. 10-1. A lot of questionables here. We're going to get Barnes. We don't know. Miller, we don't know yet. Where does Tatum still rank up there for you?
Yeah, no one's going to play him. I think it's interesting. I'm assuming everyone thinks this game is just going to blow out. And I mean, there's a very strong possibility that is correct. But if it plays any way like the last time they played, right? Or if it's at all competitive in a game with 240 implied points and the most on the board, and let's say Porzingis doesn't play, and obviously, like, I'm breaking every scenario correct for me in this theory.
Porzingis played 25 minutes in this game that he went for 60.
Right.
So
and I said it last night. When Grande says he plays minutes, unclick that player.
Yeah, that's your like, yeah, he's fine. Blow him off. What do you think NAW? He plays minutes.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like he's fine. I'm not gonna like sit here and like tell you that I'm like I don't think that he's like going to like be fine. I just he's fine.
Yeah.
I'll change to I'll think of
he's a 4K play. I wasn't calling him like an all-star.
No, I know. Blame power for this. Don't blame me. Yeah, I think Tatum's great. I think Tatum's great. Like there's a lot of injury news on the Boston front that obviously matters, and there's a lot of injury news on Chicago that matters. If Josh Giddey and Zach LaVine don't play, there's no chance that they stay competitive in this game.
Sure.
But if people are active, even if it's not Giddey, the Bulls are the second highest 3-point shooting team, or the second best 3-point shooting team in the league. They make the second most threes versus the first. First is usually going to win. But if second shoots as many threes as they do because they play as fast as they do, well, then this game could be more competitive than, the 14-point spread that is it's being led to believe. And you've talked about like how Boston is in a lot of shootouts this year, and they are like still top 10 defensively, but they're 8th, where like last year they were 1st or 2nd all year. So alone Jason Tatum is very appealing to me tonight in tournaments. Again, this game has 240 implied points and nobody wants to play it. So if you look at a game with 240 implied points and no one wants to play it, I will take that and I'll say, okay, well, if I play this game and it stays close and it goes for 240 plus points, then I feel very good about my chances in tournaments.
Sure. I agree. All right, where are we going next? Again, a lot of these guys we've kind of talked about already. There is Cam Johnson here at $7,100. Probably someone that was on the receiving end of those 15 potential assists from Ben Simmons in that game.
17
potential assists. This is just getting better and better for Cam Johnson. If Scotty Barnes doesn't play, who's defending Cam Johnson? I guess Agbaji.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's a good spot. Undoubtedly a good spot. You just need him to make shots, and he did the other day. He just didn't get to play enough for it to matter.
Where else are we looking to go then as we work our way down? Again, a lot of these guys we've touched on. Laurie, 67 against Detroit. Finally, Laurie, maybe?
The price is interesting. That's what I got. I don't know. I don't have much analytical value to bring here. I just think that price is very interesting because I don't know what's happened to him that much. The volume has just fallen off a cliff. It's gone. It's all gone. He's playing with too many shot happy guys, and he's not.
That's shooting. What it is. Playing with too many guys that are shooting.
So trade everyone, get Lauri Markkanen, his 200, make him and his $200 million contract that you gave him this offseason worth it, right? I mean, what are we doing?
Wizards. I
guess, yeah. I mean, cool. I don't know. I don't know here. We know Koulibaly's going to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does their starting lineup look like? Who starts for Kuzma?
Sure.
Does Brogdon start? There's a lot of unknowns about Washington. Jordan Poole, we know Jordan Poole is going to start. We know Koulibaly's going to start. We know Sarr's going to start, right? Those three players. Who the other two starters could be Champagny, could be Keyshawn George, could be Brogdon, could be Carrington. They could go back to the double big.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different directions. So TBD on Washington as a whole, outside of like three guys that we know are starting. Sarr.
I had liked Sarr tonight.
Yeah. And no, I think he's one of the three that's safe. Like, he's going to start. Koulibaly's going to start. Poole's going to start. I just don't know I don't know who else is going to start, because could be Brogdon, could be Carrington, could be Champagny. There could be a lot of different directions. Just kind of out until we know more on Washington.
Trendon Watford out tonight. Going to miss a week with a hamstring strain. DeAndre Hunter's here again, a guy that I've been playing pretty consistently. The minutes are good. The scoring's been really good. You need to get these peripheral stats to give him kind of a ceiling here, but even on a game where he had just one rebound, he still had 27 fantasy points. Under 6K, 5,500. Prices coming down. Noah Gonku could give, again, maybe more minutes run for him tonight. Where are you with DeAndre Hunter this evening?
Yeah, the Atlanta stuff is incredibly interesting, because I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody wants to play Larry Nance. Nobody's played Larry Nance all day, right? Not a single soul. No one's projecting Larry Nance well, but in the two games Okongwu missed this year, Larry Nance was extended.
Yep.
They have not
23 and 25 minutes.
They have not played Jalen Johnson at the 5. Like, they just have gone more traditional, right? Like, they've gone Nance when someone's been out. So I would say, like the scenario you played out, if they go shorter and Larry Nance is not involved, and they do end up giving small ball minutes to like somebody, then that benefits DeAndre Hunter, but like even more than it already is. But he has a role regardless. He is their sixth man. He's going to take a lot of shots, and the peripheral stats, it's very it comes and they come and go, but
when they come, he gets you 7x.
Yes, because he's also giving you 20 a night. So
yeah. I mean, we talked Peyton Pritchard 6th man of the year. DeAndre Hunter's right.
He has been cooking, dude. He's been cooking with gas this year for sure.
MD is Jacoby Walter a good play for tonight if he starts?
Yeah,
I think if he starts, we'd have some Jacoby Walter interest. Given, I would feel a lot better about everybody if Scotty Barnes was ruled out for San Antonio
and Davion, right? Like if they rolled Scotty and Davion out, like you could just play a lot of Toronto tonight.
Yep. And then do we like Tatum more than Towns? That's really.
It's a good question. I'm gonna say yes, but it's obviously close. Towns has been a monster in every matchup he's been in.
We're going to way down dual positional eligibility, guys. Again, we like Beasley. We like Clay, just in general here. Is there anybody else down at small forward that you'd be looking to play? Again, the Oscar Thompson news is one we're certainly waiting for. If he starts, we're confident in the minutes. If he doesn't, we can't be that confident in his minutes. Was really good, obviously, and it's a really good matchup for him against Utah. So, and if you're Detroit, like, wouldn't you want to play him? But
yes,
that's what you would want to get him going here.
I mean, dude, he's chaos. He's like his brother. They're just chaos. It's just he's on the floor. It's just pure chaos.
Yeah. There is Quentin Grimes down here again. We'll see who starts. Do you think Grimes starts for Luka or Dinwiddie?
My guess would be Grimes.
Okay.
And maybe both.
Okay.
Maybe they both are end up starting in this
That's
game.
true. If there's no Irving. Anything down here for you? I think De Silva is starting. THT would be interesting if Giddey and Levine end up being ruled out. Seems like that's the only way he ever gets extended minutes.
Yeah, they would both have to be ruled out. The Silva thing's a little bit interesting because he's coming off his season high. He scored 20 actual. Season high, tied a season high in minutes, or second most minutes this year. Played a lot of minutes, obviously. Do I expect him to go 9 for 17 against the Thunder? I do not. But at least we know that that's like in the range of outcomes. So,
Jordan Hawkins will play tonight for the Pelicans.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, he's gonna definitely be limited for sure.
Yeah, I would agree on that one there. Cam Thomas will be reevaluated this weekend, so we're still waiting on news for that one. Anybody else a small forward?
No, let's go to power forward.
Power forward. Durant is $9,000. Jalen Johnson's 84. Jalen Williams 83.
Yeah, I mean, Durant's obviously it's a great game environment. The minutes for Durant, 2 games in, 34, 36 from the sprained ankle. He's all the way back. Bradley Beal being there muddies things up for Durant, but if you want to get there, great game environment. Jalen Johnson's ownership, John, very surprising today. We said he wasn't. People said no one was going to play him. We were wrong. Everyone's playing him, or at least that was the case earlier. What's his ownership now? Is he still popular? Yeah, he's still one of the highest rostered power forwards of the day.
18%. Yeah.
So I mean, he is just a very good fantasy player. If you want to get there, J-Dub more of a tournament play only for me. Not the best spot, and I told you, I do think Hartenstein is hurting him a little bit here. So Johnson for
taking
me,
a lot of shots. He could. I mean, if he hit a couple more shots, his numbers would look a little better.
It's true. Yeah, I'm not gonna hate on my boy.
This is the shot maker show, by the way. So
this is a shot maker show, and this is my boy. I can't hate on my boy here.
Working our way down to the next tier. You were all in on Jaren Jackson Jr. last night. Ja in or out? Does it really matter for you with Triple J?
I just don't know. I don't know why he's being priced this way. Because what gives the site the thought to price him at this?
Scotty Barnes will play today, by the way.
I mean, he's going to be one of the highest roster players of the day. Undoubtedly one of the highest. He's not going to be limited. I'm telling you, I just don't see a scenario where you're 2 game absence. You're not feeling comfortable. If he's good, if he's not good, don't bring him back. That would be so stupid. Especially with how many injuries he suffered already throughout his young career.
Davion out.
Okay, so let's just go through. Unless they drop the starting lineup right now, what are our thoughts on
I think they're talking to what's his face there. So
Darko.
Yeah.
So face of the league in.
Mm-hmm.
Not face of the league out.
Right. I think Shed could start at point guard tonight.
So you're gonna get confirmed Scotty, Grady, Agbaji, likely Mobo, right?
Yeah.
As your 4. I don't know if they would start a point guard, just given they've been starting.
They would do Barnes as point guard? Yeah.
Yeah, and because they did it last game with RJ too.
Yeah.
So I'd assume they would go one of the bigs. They go for Kelly O.
Yeah.
One of the Kelly O, Fernando, one of those guys, or they go Walter because they also started Walter, but they had Pirtle in that situation. So I guess we'll see. Kristaps also remains questionable because naturally that's how that works as well. We won't get that. I'm surprised actually that I feel like Boston's been good about their news. I do think Shed isn't a bad. I'm not saying Shed's a bad play. I'm also just saying I don't think. Maybe he played himself into more time, right? 10, 6, and 4 in 12 minutes is absurd.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a path for his minutes regardless, right?
Well, hold on. Please hold. Is he on the G League? Because this is obviously we need to know if he's on a. I don't know if he's on a 2-way or not. Jamal Shed is with the team. Kamchi, Lawson. That's it. Those are the only 2 with the G League. So
I mean, he was already playing tens of minutes, right? Maybe those numbers go up to 20 tonight.
That was absurd. That was an absurd
playing tens of minutes.
Plural usage. That was absurd.
Tens of minutes.
That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, look, one of probably Shed or Walter get extended with no Davion.
Sure.
right? Like seriously extended. Like Walter's already been playing low 20s. Could he push for 30, or does he stay in his role and Shed now gets like the extension? So, I think Scotty being in greatly changes the outlook of Toronto in general, because again, they were playing him at point guard. Scotty Barnes per dollar is as good as anybody else on the board because they're just going to play him. You can play him at point guard. The other team's playing a 6'10" point guard.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is the opposing team's point guard, right? Yep. So they don't need traditional in this matchup.
Nope, agreed. All right, we were on Triple J at the time of that news here. Recap quickly for those who are just catching in. Where are you with Jaren Jackson Jr.?
I mean, I love him in tournaments because he's $1,000 too cheap. And if John Morant doesn't play, he's my per dollar. Scotty Barnes, my lineups will start with the Scotties, Pippen, and Barnes, and Jaren Jackson. Those will be the first three players I plug into every lineup I build tonight.
All right. Sohan returned a couple nights ago. Sohan's been really good of late in general.
Back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, back in the starting lineup. 17 and 15 against Minnesota, and what should have been a tough spot here. Gets Atlanta now, $6,700. Where are we with the Sohan?
Yeah, you can play him in tournaments. No one's going to play him. I don't know if people realize how good he's been, but nobody's going to click his name.
PJ Washington. No Luka Doncic. Maybe no Kyrie Irving, but definitely no Luka. Thoughts?
I did a dive into this, John.
Okay, what do we got?
He was one of my props. He was one of my I wrote him up on Underdog Fantasy today.
You do the over rebounds?
I did. In that span of 5 games, the number was 7.5. The rebound number was 7.5.
So they knew that he was going to rebound tonight. That's what you're saying.
He had 5 double-figure rebound games in a row. And not only did he have 5 double-figure rebound games in a row, he averaged the most potential rebounds on the team. More than Lively, more than Gafford, more than everybody. He had 17 potentials per game in that 5-game stretch without Luka. You and I have said this. He cares about rebounding, and he's not standing in the corner when there's no Luka. Right. When there's Luka, he's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I go stand in the corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a clear difference there's 2 versions of PJ Washington on this Dallas team. There's the one that stands in the corner with Luka. There's the one that's super active without him. We're going to get the super active version. And, no one's playing him. I mean, he has single-digit ownership.
With Luka Doncic off the floor this season, he has a 15.5% rebounding percentage. Total rebound opportunities. He is at 15.5%. That's obviously only trailing Gafford and Lively. He averages the most rebounds per 100 possessions on that team. Defensive rebounds per 100 possessions, 11.8 defensive rebounds per 100 possessions without Luka Doncic on the floor.
Interesting. I mean, he is going to, and you look at PJ, $6,500, right? Mm-hmm. Miles Bridges is $6,200, and he's getting a lot of ownership. Tobias Harris is $6,000. He's getting a lot of ownership. PJ Washington's the clear leverage play off both those guys. Sure. We like Miles Bridges on the court in this game, and we like Toby, $6K. I think no Jaden Ivey, clear second option, in their starting lineup if it's not Beasley.
But you called all these games here. I mean, 37, 49, 39, 43, 45. So,
dude, it's not even just like it's not like I'm just making 17 potential was more than Lively, more than Gafford during that span. Like he was just a different player. And I think that is true for a lot of teams with stars when they're not on the floor. It's like, okay, we need a lot of guys to pick up the slack, right? Yeah. So PJ obviously has been that guy. It's obviously a much tougher spot than Kuminga has, or a much tougher spot than Bridges has, or a much tougher spot than Toby has, and that's why those guys are going to be more popular in PJ. But for single digit ownership, I do think PJ is quite interesting.
Yep. And again, not to discredit Draymond, Kuminga, Bridges, that are all I think very much in play here tonight. Just making Washington the pivot off there. Do you have a favorite of that next group, though?
Bridges on the court.
Okay. Under 6K, where are you looking to go?
I don't want to steal it. I don't want to steal your guy.
You can go ahead and talk about him.
No, you talk Alex Sarr, because he's 54, and I don't really like this range at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, I mean, with the recent rotations, and we don't know what Wizards are going to do yet. They've been starting him at the 5, right? They haven't been going double big. It's just been him. The minutes have been pretty solid. He doesn't get the blowout run, so he's not one of those rookies that no matter what he plays, when they get into blowouts, he comes off the floor. That's why he's only gotten 27, 27, 27, 28 minutes. Still really encouraging to get those minutes in a blowout. But this game is expected to be more competitive. We're looking like a 3.5, 4.5 point spread here. We've seen him be extended a couple of times. When he has extended, we've got a 46 fantasy point game against the Pacers. Against the Bulls, we got a 39 fantasy point game. He's a shot blocker. He's got steals. There's definitely double potential here. I mean, he's only gotten a couple of them on the year, but like he's hovering around that when he gets extended with the rebounds here. So, and centers against Charlotte has been a play that we've been pounding for 10 years now. So $5,400 Alexander Sarr for me. I'm certainly in.
Agreed.
All right. After that rant, where are we going next?
I'm unsure there's like anything definitive that I like. Maybe I don't know. Asar obviously would be if he's starting. I think we had a question Boucher related. Cam the man. I think Boucher is super volatile with Scotty being back, but you never know, right? He DMP'd for a week straight and then played 21 minutes off out of the clouds. So I don't know. What did we look at last night, John? He was playing with Pirtle or with Kelly O.
Yeah.
They're running parallel with minutes. So that means if they're going to run him at the 4, they can. I don't know. I'm a little indifferent. He obviously has a ceiling if he plays, but if he plays is the real question there.
Sure. Was there anything else down here that you wanted to touch on for power forward?
No, there's no, like, Tari Eason's getting ownership, but my suspicions are more that it's multi-positional things there. Sure. I know he has a ceiling, but I guess Tari Eason becomes more interesting, and so does Jabari Smith if Şengün ends up getting ruled out, because Şengün is on the injury report today.
By the way, Shed got a massive ownership bump.
Did he get a massive ownership bump?
Yeah, we'll see if that adjusts as news comes out of that starting lineup. If he's not in the starting lineup, he probably would get bumped back down. But at least for now, he's top 6 ownership.
Okay.
To our point, though, from last night, with so many players on the slate, nobody's really getting like the overwhelming ownership, except for like Malik Beasley, who's 35% right now. But you know, if this is a 6-game slate, that Shed number would be 40 or 50 and not 20. So still not high enough that you have to play him, but we'll see what happens. If that starting lineup comes out, that may get bumped even more. So
nobody playing Scotty Barnes. Is Scotty Barnes? I don't even see Scotty Barnes. I think that's a little interesting.
Sure. Centers. Got Wemby, got Towns. Top 2 guys, 10-7, 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, anytime Wemby's like not getting ownership, and he's not getting ownership, but probably not as high as we typically would see, I have interest. I think that there should be interest. Anytime there's like you start talking 10-7, sub $11,000 with the upside that Wemby. I mean, dude, in a game that he shot terribly in, he goes for 56 because he has 7 blocks, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. There's just not anyone on the slate that can do that. And you're starting to get elite passing Wemby for the last 5 games, 5+ assists. The rebounds have obviously been there. The scoring's been there. So we're really just getting a little bit of everything.
Brandon Miller ruled out, by the way.
Oh, it's interesting. He went through shoot around and everything. That gives a big boost. And I wonder if we're going to get LaMelo minute updates here. That really makes Miles Bridges incredibly interesting. No Brandon Miller. There's a clear second fiddle without Brandon Miller there. Like no Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges is going to take 100 shots, especially if Lamelo is a little bit limited. So Brandon Miller immediately, or Miles Bridges immediately moves into my core plays on the court.
Sure. All right, so you got Wemby, you got Towns here. Are we buying into the revenge narrative? Towns, he put out a statement today. Zinger will play today. Kristaps Porzingis in for Boston.
Hauser out. Fire up PP. That's your PP news that we needed. The fast PP news is directly tied to Sam Hauser right there.
Sure.
All the extra Sam Hauser minutes are now funneling to Peyton Pritchard.
It's good.
Yeah, no, it is good because I think Boston's without all their guys from the G League. Davidson out, Peterson out, Shireman out.
Not that they play those guys anyways, but
no, I know, but all those all the potential backup minutes are now all Peyton Pritchard's. Like every single minute, Peyton Pritchard. Towns revenge. He's besides the revenge, he's just been super elite and. You and I had been screaming for a month and a half to put his price at $10,000, please.
Yeah. Yep.
It's still probably realistically, it's probably still too cheap at 10-2 with how he's playing.
Late last night, Alperen Sengun popped up on the injury report. Question.
He did.
If he gets ruled out, that changes some things tonight, doesn't it?
Yes, because this is as good as a spot as it's going to get. I mean,
right.
So good. And I think the best part about it is Houston does not play a lot of players. They have a very short rotation. Jabari probably moves into the 5. Steven Adams is also questionable, John. So it might just be Jabari and Josh Giddey out.
Yep.
Dalen Terry out, which again, Josh Giddey was expected to. At least I expected him to miss.
They're talking to Billy Donovan right now, so I imagine we'll get I imagine Levine's in. We would have gotten that first probably, but
yeah, he wasn't even on the
injury report, right?
He's not even on the 4:30.
Yeah, the only report that I saw was that he was going through shoot around and then he would test his back prior to the game. So
okay, yeah, I mean, I'd assume Jabari starts at center.
Yeah,
and then
do you get Ari or Amon?
I would say, based on the Pelicans, probably Amen Thompson, but boost to both of those players. But Tari Eason also questionable. So you could also. There's also a scenario where, then Eason's out, and then there's probably 6 legitimate guys you could play on Houston. Their starting 5 all has a super strong case if you're missing 2 of their top 6 because they just don't play. If Adams, Şengün, Eason sit, there's a legit case to play Jock Landale, right? Min salary punt, just because they'll play him a bunch of minutes off the bench. So.
You'll have to build your lineups if you want to try to get that Şengün potential leverage. You'll have to build your lineups with that in play here tonight.
I would say the good thing is a lot of news 8 p.m. or later, right?
Yeah.
Houston news, Kyrie news. There's a lot of news. Josh Hart got listed questionable later. There's a lot of news later in the game in the games.
All right, other centers here get Vuk. Porzingis is in at $7,600. Zubac, our Hartenstein. What are our thoughts here?
Yeah, Zinger in tournaments for sure in play. Zubac is dominant, and you could play him. Hartenstein's fine. I think Miles Turner's really interesting in tournaments. I don't think Nurkic can hang with him. Walker Kessler in tournaments for sure. Goga, I don't love 5,900 for Goga, but the minutes should be there. Claxton tournaments, I think, has a really good advantage here. If we
got a ceiling of 33 against Claxton here.
Yep,
and this obviously exploded.
Yep,
and this would be a pretty legit matchup for him tonight.
Yes. So I'm good with Claxton. I think this tier is really interesting. Claxton 55, Messi 55, because Ives Messi's been playing monster minutes and just been a monster on the glass. I called out Jalen Duren last night, and he's just someone that there's no Stewart. He's really cheap. They just are. I don't think they want to play Paul Reed, right? I don't think they want to play him extended run. They have to because there's no Stewart, but they're gonna play Duren as much as they possibly can. So I don't love the ownership on Jalen Duren. that he's like being this highly rostered. I didn't think he would be this highly rostered.
Yeah.
But I do think he is firmly in our player pool. Same thing with Clint Capella. Now, if you're going into this slate thinking Clint Capella is going to play 35 minutes, I think you're sadly mistaken. Those days seem, at least in Atlanta, seem to be over. He's maxed out at 29 a couple times this year. I think that's realistic, but to think he's going to play 30 without Okongwu, he didn't the 2 times Okongwu didn't play earlier here.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be in the cards now. But I do think all those centers are fast PP or Pippen.
It depends. The Pippen news all dependent on John Morant here tonight.
Yeah, so like it's hard to like answer because fast PP locks at 7:30. If you don't have that news, then you just have to play Pritchard, or you build with a contingency, right? You build
build like Dinwiddie maybe, and then pivot to Pippen.
Yeah, like hey, I have Scotty, but I already have my pivot in place if Ja plays, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to do that, you have to know what your pivots are. You cannot be scrambling because then at 8 o'clock, you're like, oh crap, Ja's playing and I have Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I think Dinwiddie's going to have to be your play there to print if you want to go the Pippen route. Otherwise, like Peyton Pritchard is pretty secure tonight with no Hauser. Like the minutes should be 30 for him in a really good spot. So you just can go either way really there, but make sure that if you're having Pippen in your lineup, that you have the means to get to Dinwiddie. I don't know what the pricing is on FanDuel between the two, but that's probably the move that you'd end up making there. So, what if Callio starts? Hasn't played more than 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's in play.
Okay,
firmly in play.
And this is a dude that has legit 50 fantasy point upside whenever he gets like 30 minutes of run. Like we've seen it happen time and time again. So
he has not needed run too. He has not needed a lot of run to get there.
He's been over a fantasy point per minute on the season already.
Yeah.
Right. 16.8 fantasy points. He's played 13.3 minutes a game. So
yeah, he's good. No, he's
God bless him, man. He's made a 12-year career in the league. Like it's like hanging around. So
yeah, he like he was early on the stretch big phenomenon, right? Like he got ahead of the curve. So
you got him there again. If he starts, you mentioned the Jalen Duran thing. Like I'm still thinking like I want to play Sarr over Duran if I had to pick one. I don't know if I'm just like standing my ground too hard on that play, but the Şengün news. I mean, like I would definitely like some Jabari here if he was. I mean, he's been good anyways, right? Like
so like I think in this scenario, John, I mean it's kind of like an easy construction. The Sarr stuff would take you out of it,
right? And
so would Jalen Duran. But if you built with Capella at 53,
you pivot
and gave yourself $100 and made sure you left yourself $100 because Capella's at 8. Capella's also a good play, right? I mean, like it's not like we don't like Clint Capella. So I think that would be the direction you would go if you want to like try to get leverage going to Jabari.
Okay. Any other value centers on the board for you tonight?
No, and I just want to point, and I was looking at Carlucci's playbook, and he wrote he wrote Edie up. He also put the same caveat that we talked about on the show, right? Played 24 minutes, first game back, great. Looked great. I mean, double-double, right?
Double-double, yeah.
Anthony Davis exists in that game. The Warriors can just simply play Zach Edey off the floor in this spot.
Sure.
If Draymond if Draymond is the small ball 5, Zach Edey's not playing. He is not playing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just going to play Triple J, or they're going to play Brandon Clark, or
Aldama.
or Aldama, and there's just Zach Edey just doesn't exist.
I always think that's funny how I always assume like the bigger guy will just dominate that spot, and then they never go to the bigger guy. The other team forces the bigger guy off the floor.
Yep, it's the OKC theory, right? When they were playing Jalen Williams, they were just like, "All right, do it."
Yeah.
Try to guard us with this line. Try to guard us with this lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. We got some of the news we were looking for. Yeah. Some of it. We have no lineups outside of like the two that don't matter.
The Magic lineup.
Yeah. It would have been nice to at least get maybe I keep refreshing. I'm like, give me a Toronto or a Wizards lineup or something here. Like,
I mean, I think we play Beasley.
Yeah.
I think that's like clear cut with no Ivy.
Agreed.
I think we play Jamal Shed as it currently is situated.
Sure.
What is the Scotty Barnes ownership on DraftKings? John, he is 7% rostered.
Yeah, I got to assume when the lineup comes out that would change.
I am having a
think-
hard time believing that's true. I have a hard time believing.
Well, the problem is like everybody's still playing Cade, right? So,
Yeah,
like,
and Kyrie and Cade and Kyrie, and everyone wants to play Cade and Kyrie.
so it could just be that nobody's playing Scotty Barnes. I mean, play Scotty Barnes here at the small forward.
Yeah, I mean, I want to play low.
We were able to get 2 guys in there. Could we still probably get Cade in our lineup tonight?
Well, we also played.
Easy.
We also played Larry Nance last night.
Yeah, but now we're playing Shed instead.
Yeah, sure. Bars. What a bar that was.
Hey, oh, sorry, because I've talked that into that play.
Capella at center, so we have the wiggle room to pivot for Anthony. I think that question will be better answered when we have a Pistons starting lineup.
Yeah.
I do think he will play more with no Ivy, right? Just no Ivy, he will play more.
Yeah. Yep. Because they can play Beasley and Hardaway Jr. at the guard spot.
Yeah, you can just play them up a position. And I think like guys like Holland and Fontecchio probably go away.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in and you're on FanDuel, Scotty Barnes is
have to play Scotty Barnes.
He's $3,500. They messed up the price. You have to play him.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. This is like the drop score stuff all over again. Like you're just playing a guy and you're
and don't worry about it, Anthony. Not
worry.
An issue. Like we're in the same boat you are. We don't know until we know. So, but if he starts, we feel pretty good about a 28 minutes, something like that for us. Or if he's off the bench, it could be 20 or less.
Yeah.
Like,
well, okay. We said it before. I think that if he starts, John, what are his minutes?
I think
you
it's 28. 28.
If he's off the bench, what would you project his minutes? Because again, Jaden Ivey, Toby in
20 to 22, probably.
I think it's low 20s. So I guess your tolerance, right? Do you think Asar Thompson gets there in low 20 minutes? He can. He's a crazy man when he's out there.
I know. Listen. I may not look like it now. I could hoop back in the day. So that's not a bad 3.5.
Were you a bucket?
Oh,
You're a bucket?
Oh yeah. I had the privilege of hitting the puberty growth spurt early.
Okay.
So like I was bigger than everybody.
You were in the post? Were you playing in the post?
I played stretch 5, dude. I was hitting threes. I was the center. I was taking the tip at the start of the game. Like I was that guy. And then like sophomore year, everybody got taller. And then I played point guard because everybody was way taller than me. But I could ball.
I started my first game freshman year. And I never started again.
The height I am right now, I was the same height in 6th grade.
Okay.
So, I was that guy. I was like, oh, this kid's gonna be like 6'8", and then I just stopped growing.
Okay.
But it played in the middle school leagues. So we were there. All right, we got 5,900. What we got?
5,900. I mean, I like Miles Bridges quite a bit with no Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I like him on the court.
On the court, right? On the court.
56 hour, 300 off fast PP here. So close. Clarkson. Hunter.
It's an interesting tournament play. I don't mind the Hunter stuff too, because Hunter provides the pivot opportunity for like anything we want, right? Like just depending on what happens in that 5 p.m. window. Like we're not playing Dinwiddie right now. If Kyrie gets rolled out, or we're not playing Grimes.
That's true. We're not playing Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie would open up a whole lot of dollars for us.
We'd go from Hunter to Dinwiddie, and then we just have like infinite money glitch.
Infinite money glitch. Yeah, that would give us 72. Is there Triple J?
It could be a center, or I mean, that's the same. It basically applies the same way because we would just now in this iteration, we would have to find pivots because there aren't a lot, and like we wouldn't be able to get to Scotty.
Sure,
that would be my only. I
mean, Scotty's right here. Scotty who? Oh, Scotty Pippen.
Yeah, because like Triple J.
Well, I mean, if we could still do Hunter Capella.
Yeah, Hunter Capella,
and then still get to if everything broke that way, right, we would
Yeah.
still go Pippen here. And then I think Capella is still almost the same amount of money. Could just play, probably save a lot. I guess you'd have a lot of money on the board still. 69. We're so close to like getting one of these later plays here.
The Prince. I think the point on. I think there's a lot of really good value at center today. So I think that's something of a priority. But the fact that you can play $3,500 Scotty Barnes makes everything a lot easier for the rest of your build. So you can really do whatever you want.
For sure.
You can do whatever you want on FanDuel.
Will they just give us a lineup? What are we doing here? Keep on getting the Celtics inactive.
I do think I just saw. I do think we didn't talk Hornets. I guess with Miller, probably Cody Martin starts. Probably if that was a value option you'd want to look at. I saw his ownership get a nice little bump. But
with no Miller.
Yeah, just throwing that out there.
Okay. All right. Well, this is an example lineup we got for everybody here today. We're double spending up with Barnes and Cade. We're using Shed right now because that's just where the ownership is. But Shed has to start tonight.
Yeah. For
us to play Jamal Shed. If he's not starting, we're out. Because we're also not playing Ben Simmons. We're not playing a lot of guys we also talked about, but it's 11 games. So, you and I are not multi-entry lineup guys. We like to play the single entries. So sometimes you got to make some tough cuts here. But Shed, Beasley, Barnes, Sarr, Capella, Cade, Bridges, and Hunter with $100 left over, giving us some room to maybe make some pivots based off the injury news. Tonight, you got to have your notifications turned on, be in that Discord to get all the updates if these lineup news and notes come through for us before roster lock here today. Do we play Jokic on FanDuel? You can play Jokic everywhere, anytime you want to, Prince. I don't have any problems with it. There was a tweet out today from Chris Mannix, I think it was, that said it looked like Jokic was putting on some weight. New dad weight, maybe. Like, I don't know. But he's a baller. So if you want to play Jokic and get Scotty Barnes at 3,500, that's going to be easy to do there. So, all right. Appreciate you all tuning in. If you want to hit that like, that subscribe, that share button, free way to support what we do here each and every day. We got the 7-day free trial going on as well. You can check that out, fanstarm.com/win. 7-day free trial going on. You can get the playbook, get in the Discord to get access to all of our content. We'll be back tomorrow for Friday's slate. Till then, everybody, good luck. We'll catch you then.